Hello parents, my name is Lungile Mangena. I'm a clinical psychologist. So today I just really want us to talk about how to listen to your child. When your child is communicating to you, how do I show my child that I am listening? So before we can even begin to answer those questions, let's think about it, parents. When you are talking to your child, you want your child to communicate to you or show you with their body language that they are listening to you, right? So it's the same for our children as well. When our children are talking to us and they're telling us all these stories, what happened at school, what happened where and where and where, they are also expecting us to equally listen to them, just like how we are also expecting them to equally listen to us when we speak to them. Okay, so we're going to unpack ways of how to listen to our children. Number one, effective listening. How do I become an effective listener? Okay, an effective listener. This involves you as a parent. When your child is talking to you, there needs to be mutual respect. As I mentioned earlier, when you are talking to your child, you are expecting your child to respect what you are saying. The same goes when your child is talking to you. There needs to be mutual respect also on my side as a parent. Okay, whether I agree with what my child is telling me or I disagree with what my child is telling me, maybe I might even find it boring. Maybe my child is telling me friend A, friend B, friend C, they did this and they did that. Maybe I'm like so tired as a parent, which happens, and I don't find this interesting at all. But you know what? It's important to your child. So effective listening means, even if I find it boring, even if I don't agree with what you are telling me, but I'm going to show you using my body language, non-verbally, that I'm attending to you, that I'm listening to you, that I'm interested in what you are saying. Now, how do we do this with our bodies? Number one is to maintain eye contact. When your child is talking to you, you need to maintain eye contact, because whatever stories they are telling you, it's really important to them. So maintaining eye contact and is communicating to the child that I'm interested in what you are saying. I'm listening to what you are saying, and not just listening, I'm listening attentively. So when we start engaging in behaviors where we start looking at our watches, if we are wearing a watch, or we start looking at our cell phones and we start playing around with our cell phones and our child is talking to us, that is not communicating effective listening to the child. So my body language is saying, I'm not accepting what you are telling me. In fact, I'm rejecting what you are telling me. Okay, so parents, let's try and become effective listeners when our children are communicating to us using our body language. Okay. Number two, we're going to look at becoming reflective listeners. Now, what is a reflective listener? How do I become a reflective listener? So a reflective listener means I'm not only listening to the storyline, that I went to school and then we did this and we did that with our friend, or so and so did this to me, so I'm not only listening and accepting the storyline, but I'm also listening and accepting the child's feelings. I'm also listening and accepting what all of this means to my child. And then, which means every time my child is telling me a story, I have to always think of the feeling word. What could my child possibly be feeling? Or what was my child feeling when this and this happened? Okay, and once I'm able to think, oh, maybe my child felt angry, oh, maybe my child felt sad, or maybe my child felt excited. So now reflective listening means I think about the feeling word and I'm accepting my child's feelings, and I'd say back to my child that, sure, I wonder if this made you feel sad. I wonder if this made you feel scared or excited. So I'm thinking about the feeling word, but I'm also saying it back to my child as well. And this will communicate to my child that, sure, my parent actually understands me. My parent is actually accepting my feelings. And this will make your child feel heard. And this will encourage your child to even open up more and tell you more about what happened. Because, let's think about it, parents. We all want our children to be able to tell us things, especially hard things that happened to them or things that were painful to them. So reflective listening will encourage, when you become a reflective listener, it will encourage your child to open up even more. The minute you're communicating to your child the feelings, it will validate your child's feelings and experiences and will make your child tell you more. Okay, so now I want us to now think about our responses now. So now we've been looking at how to become an effective listener and a reflective listener. Now, how do we now start to respond to what our children are telling us? There's something that we call an open response, and then we've got a closed response. So I'm going to start with a closed response, which a lot of parents, find ourselves doing this thing called a closed response. So when your child is coming back from school, or wherever is coming back from, or playing outside with the friends, so comes back to you and tells you, you know what, mommy, today so and so didn't want to play with me today. So and so picked everyone else to play with them and they didn't pick me. So now, as a parent now, if I'm practicing effective listening, so I'm using my body language to communicate to the child that I accept what you are telling me. However, a parent who is applying a closed response will use their body language to actually communicate the opposite. To communicate that I'm not interested in what you are telling me. So the same child is telling me all these things that happened, that the friend, he was not chosen, or my child was not chosen. The friends picked everybody else and did not pick my child. And then now a closed response means now I'm not interested in what you are telling me. So my body is saying to the child, I'm not interested. Maybe I'm looking at the phone, or I'm looking at the clock on my arm, or I'm looking at the TV while the child is communicating to me. So I'm non-verbally communicating to the child that I'm not interested. And then my response now is saying to the child, I'm not interested. My response will be, oh well, life is not fair. Who said life was fair? So go ahead and make other friends. Why are you always mopping and crying over this particular friend? Go and make other friends. That is a closed response. That is a closed response that does not accommodate even reflective listening, meaning I didn't think about the feeling word here, what my child was feeling. I didn't communicate those feelings to my child, so my child felt unheard. Okay? The function of a closed response coming from me as a parent when my child is talking to me about something that is really important to them, it does not validate my child's feelings at all. And do you think the same child will come back to me when they are feeling overwhelmed by something again? They won't. My child would rather keep quiet and not tell me anything, because my child can now predict I'm going to give them a closed response. Okay, so what I always encourage parents when we are responding to our children, when they are telling us something that is really important to them, it's important that we have an open response. Okay, an open response. Now, this is where we say to the child, after our child told us that their friend did not pick them, picked everybody else except for them. So an open response would be, sure, let me think about the feeling word right now. What could my child be feeling? Let me pay attention. My body language, let me look directly and maintain eye contact and show the child that I'm interested in what you are telling me. So what could be the thinking word right now? Sure, maybe the child felt like nobody cared for him. His friend or their friend, they don't care for them. Okay, so now maybe also the child felt alone, lonely. So now I've thought about the feeling words now. Now I start communicating those feeling words to my child in an open response manner. Then I say to my child, sure, that sounds like it was a hard experience for you. That sounds like maybe you thought that your friend doesn't care about you. Maybe you might have felt alone, lonely when you saw that, your friend picked everybody else and didn't pick you. Maybe that made you feel so lonely on the inside, And then I say this back to my child. And guess what? It will validate my child's experiences. And then my child will feel heard. My child will walk away feeling heard. Okay, so parents, as we have been speaking, we've been speaking about how to listen to your child. Listening to your child involves you being an effective listener, a reflective listener, and always responding by having an open response. Okay, parents, let's practice this with our children, and you will see how your children will open up more to you.